Hi everyone, my name is Teneil MacNeil. I am a fertility and adoption lawyer in Ontario, Canada. I am also an adoptive mother and the mother of a donor-conceived child. Just popping on here today because I thought it would be wonderful to take some time to talk about pride training. Pride training in Ontario is a must, something to be completed by all potential adoptive parents who are looking to adopt publicly, so through a Children's Aid Society, or privately through an adoption agency or an adoption licensee. I deal with a number of family adoptions, so great Aunt Joe is looking to adopt, say, a niece. In those situations, unfortunately, in my mind, it is not a requirement. And so it's something I recommend that everyone complete. And I just kind of wanted to jump on here and tell people a little bit about what pride training involves. So pride training, what does it stand for? Parent Resources for Information Development and Education. I always forget, always, what that abbreviation stands for. And so I looked it up, I cheated some. What I don't forget, sorry, I just kicked that there. What I don't forget is why pride training is so incredibly important and what it teaches us as adoptive parents. First, of course, what they do in this course, they teach you about adoption. They teach you a little bit about the child welfare system, the processes, the laws that are in place. More importantly than that, though, they teach us about attachment and loss. For many of us, for me, it was my first foray into what attachment is, what attachment looks like, what the issues are pertaining to attachment when dealing with adoption. And I'm not going to take the time and delve into that. Certainly, I am not a psychologist. I am not an expert. But attachment in my life and in my daughter's life has been a concept that has proved especially important to us. And my understanding of it and what it means and what it involves has proven invaluable in terms of being a better parent and being able to assist my daughter as she grows. Pride training also goes through child development and issues specific to the needs of adopted kiddos. It talks about the effects of neglect, lack of stimulation, abuse, and institutionalization on children. So some kiddos are in group homes, some are in foster homes, and those scenarios impact children in a very unique way, and it's something that adoptive parents really need to be aware of. We're not dealing with a normal parenting scenario. We're dealing with children with unique needs, and we should really be educated as to what that involves. And so, fine if you're going through the public system or if you're going through an adoption agency, but as family, it's still a thing. There's still loss, there's still grief, there may be attachment issues. And I think it's really important for the entire adoption constellation in terms of anyone who's looking into becoming an adoptive parent, that they really educate themselves in that regard. Another thing that's touched on that is of incredible importance is identity formation. That and cultural and racial awareness. I mean, those issues are huge, and we don't want to underplay them. We don't want to not take the time to recognize their significance and how they impact our children and how we need to respect and honor those things. And so it can be an issue in a family adoption as well, right? Just because great Aunt Joe adopts their niece, if that's on the maternal side, what of the paternal side? What of that culture, that heritage, and if it differs from the maternal side? And so we really want to ensure that kin families are are paying mind to the child as a whole and who they are and their identity and their background. If without that training, sometimes sadly, it doesn't happen, and there are opportunities that are missed in terms of educating parents how to best assist their child. Now, yes, Pride training provides you with invaluable education. Beyond that, though, and the thing that really struck with me and proved of benefit, and something which I am perhaps most grateful for, is the sense of connection. I took Pride training approximately 12 years ago. There was considerable wait, of course, after I applied to adopt as a single parent. But I met people during Pride training that I'm still in contact with. And the amazing thing is our children now have connections. And that shared experience is kind of a gift that keeps on giving. So in the days where perhaps as mom, I'm struggling with developmental trauma or attachment issues, and I need a glass of wine, guess who I'm calling? I might call a friend of mine who I met through Pride, and where we have that shared experience. Because, being an adoptive parent can sometimes feel pretty isolating. We parent differently. Our children have different needs. Our families have different needs. And so having relationships with others who get it, where you don't have to explain it, it's honestly has proven considerably valuable in my world. So I won't say much more about Pride training other than, if you are a family member considering adoption, even if it's not required, please put your mind to obtaining that training either now or in the future. I know when we have an infant come into our home unexpectedly, we are at our wits' end. We only have two hands and so much in terms of capacity and our ability to shoulder stress. But Pride training should be something that we have in the back of our mind, because as our littles grow, it doesn't matter if we adopt them from birth. They still are going to have some struggles ahead of them in terms of identity formation, attachment, grief, and loss. And we really want to be able to support them as best we can. And so Pride training, where do we go in order to register for that training? If we look on my website, I have a list of helpful resources, and here I have a link to Pride training. Let's just see here. And in terms of this link, it will take you to Adopt Ontario, the Adoption Council of Ontario. And what you will see is that there is a private Pride schedule list that sets out various dates and times. I'm looking here and I see that the cost per person for Pride training is $500, and per couple is $1,000. And I will tell you, as a mama, I know in this day and age, money is tight, especially with everything going on in the world. But that $500 or that $1,000, you can't put a price tag on the education that you would receive, and the benefit that it will prove to be to not only your child, but your family. And hopefully those shared connections, which will help you see you through the many years to come. So yes, if you have questions about Pride training, visit that link on my website. Certainly you can give me a call or email me with any questions, but something to look into, something I hope that you'll consider if as a family member you're adopting. If you're adopting in any other sense, you're certainly going to need that training regardless. Take care, and yeah, thanks for listening.